everyone. It's Shel C with PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you days 19, 20, and 21 of the hashtag ATCAD 2021 challenge from the Art Joy of Sharing Art community on Facebook. If you haven't joined us yet, you still can. There's always time to develop a daily art practice, and I will make sure that the link to the community is below if you'd like to ask to join. Make sure that you do answer the questions that pop up when you ask to join, because that just ensures that we know you're a real person and not a robot who wants to sell us some random stuff that we don't want. So I decided to do today's with some gel printing to start out. This is my 5x7 gel plate from Gel Press. And I wanted to show that you can upcycle when you're making ATCs. This was a Raisin Bran box that I cut up into 3.5 by 2.5 inch pieces. And I'm just starting by putting a layer of paint, neutral paint like titanium white or unbleached titanium, onto the cards. I also had a little a scrap that had kind of a fold in it that had some script writing on it. And if you have something that's a little bit crinkled or folded, you can glue it to a piece of upcycled card like this and press it down really well. And as long as you've got glue over the entire thing, you can press out the fold or wrinkle that might be in it. I used a bone folder to do that. You could use the back of a kitchen knife or something like that. Just something that smooths everything down and presses it really good. And as long as there's glue everywhere, you're able to fix that spot. Then I wanted to use some of my collection of artist trading card size stencils. These are designed by all different designers over at Stencil Girl Products. You know, I love that company. I love everything about them. And so I like to showcase them on my channel whenever I can. A lot of artists design for them, and I don't remember which ones these were, but they have a good collection of ATC size stencils that come on a 9x12 piece, and there's 9 different designs designed all by the same person on one piece. So these are fun to use not just on ATCs, but anytime you need something small to maybe fill in a background and add a little bit of pattern. So I was using those. I also got out a couple of my shaped gel plates, a diamond shaped one and a leaf shaped one to play around with those on the ATCs as well. So you will see those coming up soon. They are actual gel plates made by Gel Press. They're just in a shape. And I like to mount them on a clear acrylic block and use those as well. And I used them along with these same stencils. So you've seen a couple different stencils that were designed by different people. You can use them. You can put some paint down on the plate, put the stencil on, and press the card over the top. That's one way you can get an impression. And since I'd already put layers of paint onto the card to cover up the graphics that were on there from the Raisin Bran box, I already had a background. You can also put some paint on. You can put the stencil over it. You can use a piece of scratch paper and remove the stencil, remove the paint from inside the stencil, and then add some other colors with your brayer, lift up the stencil, and pick up that whole design. There's lots of ways you can do it. You can put some color down, put the stencil over, put some more paint through the stencil, and pick that up. So there's just different ways to do it. And I'm adding, one set was greens, and then the other set is blues and teals together. So I'm not going too crazy. I'm just wanting to get some color and pattern and interest onto these recycled cards. Now I'm just cleaning up what's left on the plate onto some scratch paper, and this will become collage paper later, because you can just put layers and layers of stuff on your different under paper. The piece that I've been using to roll the excess paint off with my brayer became a really interesting piece too, and I saved that for collage paper later because, as you know, I'm a mixed media collage artist. So now I've got out some of these little shaped gel press plates. This is the leaf one, and I started out with the olive green color that's almost yellow, and it didn't really show up that much. So I went with a different color and did like some more solid rather than adding the pattern to it. Um, and then I put a darker green on there and picked up some of the paint to get some pattern on there and use that one on the other side just to get a couple little leaves on there. I thought it would be interesting. Then with the excess, I cleaned it up by just patting it over and over and over on this other card, and whatever was left on there, added some pattern to that one. Then this is the diamond shaped one. This is the one I really wanted out of the set of three. This particular set has a diamond, a leaf, and a butterfly shaped gel plate in it. You could also lay them down and do it, like you normally do with a gel plate, pick up by laying something over the top. But I think it's kind of fun to just make them into a little jelly stamp like this by using a clear acrylic block. So there's my backgrounds. I decided to get started making my cards, and I've got 3 of them in this video. So I was thinking about using some stuff that I have had around. It's ATC month where you're making an ATC every day. It's a good time to use little things that maybe people have sent you in Happy Mail, or you just have this collection of stuff, right? It's everywhere. You just have it, and it's a good time to use it. So I had this little piece of plastic, which I thought was a rub-on, but it wasn't because I tried to rub it and it didn't work. So it is printed onto plastic graphics. So I cut them out from the plastic. I put aside the little thank you and the word hi, and one of the little flowers. And I'm just going to use the rest on my card. For the ones that were printed in black, I'm gluing them onto the card using Stickles glitter glue. It's the kind that is iridescent. I love this stuff. You put this on something and it picks up the color of whatever is part of the color. And I figured if they call it glitter glue, it must be glue, right? So I glued all the clear plastic pieces, and then one of them I glued onto a piece of pink scratch paper, painty paper first. It's got a couple different colors of pink on it. I can't remember if it was watercolor or what. So that the flower would be pink, because since this is a clear plastic, whatever's behind it is going to show. And then on the 2 black ones, the glitter shows through. Well, on all of them, the glitter show through that I glued it down with. And then I just made some little dots around on the card with the glitter as well. I went around the edges with a green ink pad to make a little bit of a frame. And then I'm kind of moving around because things are drying. I ended up not using this one with the diamond. I'll use that some other time. But I did add a little bit of Stabilo around the edges of the diamond and blend it, and I thought it looked pretty cool. But then I decided to use it later. So I had another little packet of things that were printed on plastic. And this flower one, this like yellow flower one, that's one that's printed on plastic. And in the packet was these words. And then I found another thing that was plastic. Now this I made myself with a stencil, and it's on something called Duralar, which is a printable acetate. But what I did was put a stencil down on it and then put some alcohol ink. So I guess my theme for today is gel prints, but also things that are printed on plastic, I guess. Because I did use, out of the 2 of the 3 cards have things that were printed on plastic. Or in this case, alcohol ink on plastic. So I did the same thing as before. I put some of that glitter glue down on the card. I trimmed out the edge of this plastic piece and put that on, and then I added this other plastic piece that is from somewhere. I mean, I'm guessing that there may be things from like Michael's that were made for scrapbooking, because plastic would be acid free, maybe. I don't know. People either sent them to me in Happy Mail, or I I don't know where they came from. I have so much stuff. It's everywhere, and it gets to the point where I don't even know where things came from anymore because people will, swap with somebody or somebody sends you something and you get a few little pieces of something that they thought you might enjoy, and you put it in a box with all the other things that people have sent. And over the 5 years that I've been doing this online, I've received lots of things. So at very soon, at some point, oh, I did add some other glue. I was feeling like the glitter glue wasn't sticking it down good enough, so I added this other iCraft glue, and I set those aside to dry, and I left. I put some stuff on top of them and let them dry. So now I'm back. This other one, I'm working back and forth instead of just doing one card all at once. I'm working on different ones, you know. But I came back to finish them. So we'll talk about that third one in a second. These are the words that were with that other flower, the yellow flower, yellowish green flower that I put on the second card. I added the words on the first card. They say sunshine on my mind, and that is absolutely true. Sunshine is on my mind. It's summer, it's vacation. I'm looking at the beach, I'm looking at the mountains. I want to see everything and travel, and so that card is very much how I'm feeling. However, I'm not traveling to any place tropical, and this does look tropical with that hibiscus flower, but I wished I was going to Hawaii too, on top of everything else, but I'm not. So that one's done. That one is number 19, and I think it's pretty cute. Done on a piece of Raisin Bran box. So then number 20 here, I've put the acetate or the Duralar piece down. I've put the other printed flower in the middle of it. I've added glitter glue to glue it down, and I also added some over the top of the flower. It's all dry. And I have this other thing that's been printed on my laser printer, and I received this graphic. I can't remember. I took a class, and it was a year-long class, and the person who did the class, what is it called? I can't even remember. It's been a couple years ago, but her name is Eliza, and I think, and she provided several sheets of collage things. So I have printouts, like at the beginning, you probably saw the full sheet. It's printed on both sides. So if I cut one thing out, I kind of ruined the back. I wished I would have printed it. I should have printed it as single sheets, but they're printed on a laser printer. So they're perfectly safe to use in mixed media. And they were for the class, which I never finished. I need to stop signing up for year-long classes because I lose interest about 3 months in and don't finish any of the rest of the projects, which is terrible. So I need to stop doing it. But I cut out earlier that little flower thing that's on the right hand side from that sheet. And then this thing also was on there. It's like a little black and white picture of a couple laying in the grass. And I cut them out and put them across the bottom of the card. And then I had a piece of rice paper that I had doodled on, these linear shapes, and I glued that down as well. And then I am going to add a little strip of words that say always reminds me of her. They're from one of the Ranger Tim Holtz packs that is printed to look like old clippings and paper. This one. And I picked some words from that and stuck them down onto the bottom there as well. That would be from a book. Always reminds me of her. It's just a line of, I just liked it. Thought it was perfect. So that's number 20. 10 more to go for this month. So the next one is that one that I had the blue background. I used the gel print that's in the shape of a leaf, and I put a couple leaves on there with more pattern. And then I cut out this flower. Maybe it's a lily. Could be a lily. I don't know. I cut it out from that same printed sheet that I got in that class, which I can't remember. I think it had the words journey in it, but I'm not sure. I'm sure it's still going on. I'm sure it's, I'm sure it's come out every year, but this one is from a couple years ago, maybe even 3. I'm not sure. So, added a little bit of uh, Pitt Artist Pen. That's an India ink pen around the leaves to make them stand out from the background a little bit more, and around the edge of the flower as well. And it needed something. It just wasn't. It was just boring. Just boring. So I'm thinking, well, there was one little spot where I could see Raisin Bran box through. The ink that was printed on the Raisin Bran box is probably the kind of ink that you could do a resist with. You know, sometimes people with gel printing will do a resist where they take a magazine sheet that has a certain type of ink, usually like a fashion magazine. It has a type of ink that it's been printed with, and when you put paint on the plate, press it down, you end up with a reverse image of it. And then you can pick that up. And I think that the Raisin Bran box was printed with that same ink. And so down in the corner, a little place had scratched off, and I could see the purpley magenta color through. So I had to put a little paint on there. That was a long explanation for that little thing. But I also used a stencil to just add even more pattern in the background and to lighten it up a little bit so that the main focal things stood out more. And then I decided what it really needed to was to be brighter because I like things that are bright. And so I got out this Koi travel watercolor set, and I am watercoloring over the colors. So I'm using the same colors but in brighter shades and just pumping up the color of that flower and the leaves so that they're just more bright and more interesting. I'm using my water tank brush to do that. Works just fine for this. I spritzed the watercolors with a little bit of water in a spray bottle first, and then I'm just picking it up with this water tank brush instead of a regular brush. I'm not trying to go all watercolor crazy. I just wanted to make it more bright, make it more something, more interesting. I also added some white Posca pen to it to give a little highlight and make it a little bit more dimensional. Somebody needs to tell me if this flower is a lily or not. I think it is. I think it is. Some splatters, because I like splatters. Can do them easily with an acrylic paint pen by just flicking the tip of it and letting the paint fly out. I like that. I also went and looked for something else to put on it, and I found this little canceled postage stamp with a cute little bunny and some, and the cancellation almost looks like it says spring. It has SPR. I don't know what it probably does say springs, maybe something springs. I don't know. But I put that on there, and then I had this little stem that was just on my desk, and I put that on there too. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope you're playing along with hashtag ATC a day this month, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.